Estás viendo Canal América, televisión dominicana para el mundo.
A Time for True show is sponsored by the Office of Dr. Bernard Fialkoff, a periodontal, dental implant and laser specialist in New York City, for over 40 years. Dr. Fialkoff was honored by the International College of Dentists and Pierre Fauchard, and received the Presidential Lifetime Humanitarian Honor from the White House. Call us at 718-229-3838.
Sometimes life can be so damn hard. You don't know where to go. Everything keeps falling apart. Yeah. You try to do your best, but only God knows that you've given everything you've got, but the world takes you down. You just keep moving on. Let your fears.
Welcome to A Time for Truth show. I'm your host, Dr. Bernard Fialkoff, and it's a pleasure to have you back with us again on the program. A lot of you have been wondering how you can avail yourself of the previous episodes. Very simple. You go on YouTube, you click on A Time for Truth show, and at that point hit subscribe. We'd love to have you as one of our members, and you can become one tonight. Now, at this point, we want to get to the show, but you know, it's a time of year, it's a beautiful time of year, holiday time. We're celebrating, families get together, and there's a lot of warmth, and there's a lot of a realization of how much we accomplish all year long, how much occurs because there's more than one person. There's more than just even one family. There's a community of families, and their communities, and those communities make up a nation, and then that makes up the world. And in today's climate, with some of the crazy things that have been happening with violence, with war, with murder, with drugs, with homelessness, with human rights violations. It's a time of year where we reflect. And tonight we're very lucky to have with us someone who actually has been reflecting for a long time, not just this time of the year. And we're very lucky to have him with us. And Buddha, if you put his pictures up on the screen, I want to introduce our special guest tonight, Ravindra Mohamed. There you see him, to the left of Dr. Ehrenkrantz. Ravindra Mohamed is founder of RAZAKAGA Enterprises Corporation, which brings equity-based solutions and positive change to communities and society at large. There you see him with Mayor Adams. As framework coordinator for the WordLed Group, he has contributed to overcoming dehumanization problems. There you see him with his basketball team that we'll talk about during the show. Mr. Mohamed's military experience and background in infrastructure, in technology, led to much collaboration with many different networks, including Innovative Network Solutions and LinkedIn. Raza has created his teams called Raza Raptors basketball team, and also had Mount Vernon Power basketball team. He believes in creating opportunities for these players so they can go further in their life, achieving their dreams, the careers as basketball players. And he's taken these teams to Bolivia, where he's fostered career opportunities for these young men as pro athletes with the LIBO. And there you see him on the left of the screen. And Buddha, if you will, let's bring him up live and bring a warm welcome to Ravindra Mohamed to A Time for Truth show. Welcome, Ravindra.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you. Thank you for coming. Yes. You know, I wanted to ask you, because you're doing some amazing things. And I want to start at the beginning. When you were a young man, what were your dreams?
So when I was a young man, one of my dreams dealt with creating a guardian system, one that will be able to protect people and enable people to be able to bring their goals into fruition. So that's where I put my knowledge and just my life experience as I've been growing into my company and into the people that I've met, which caused me to be a part of Dr. World Group that contributes to overcoming dehumanization. Because everything that I do is for the people. That's what RAZA is for. RAZA means the people.
Well, you know what? Makes a lot of sense that you would start out with that background and then you would continue. And then what happened or what inspired you then? Because you went to the military, is that right? Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about how that happened.
Well, see, during the time in the military, it really opened my eyes to things that I didn't had exposure to as a child. I got to see the world as it is. I got to understand the issues that people face in different environments, in different society. And a thought occurred to me is that I no longer wanted to be a part of the problem, but I wanted to be a part of the real solutions. And that's what really inspired me to really push forward towards my goal as an entrepreneur and being where I am today.
Very nice. You know, what was it that you saw in society, in the world around you? What was it that you saw that had you establish your group? You know, it's RAZAKAGA, right?
RAZAKAGA.
And it means something, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Tell us what it means.
Well, RAZAKAGA means the people's shadow. What I saw in society is that people were very much basically naked in the environment that they're in, whether that's the environment for the workforce, family, education. And so I created RAZAKAGA, which means the people's shadow, because I wanted to be able to support people from the shadow, from behind, so that they can bring their goals, their aspirations into fruition. What I saw lacking in society was that people did not have actual resources or even the guidance or the role models or models there to help them get to where they want to be. They were just given the clothes on their back and say, okay, go figure it out. That's what I saw.
Very interesting. You know, it's very true because for me, in my own life, my father was a big role model. And, you know, there's so many youth, whether they be male or female, really doesn't make any difference. And they lose a parent, or maybe they don't have the divorce, things happen. And, you know, it's so true what you're saying, because to provide that role model gives a stability to that young person that you know, you can't make up otherwise. And, you know, so tell us a little bit about, because I know your group is doing things with communities. Tell us a little bit about what your group does.
Well, as a member of Dr. World Group, what we do is we bring the global initiative to the state and local levels in various pilot projects that will impact the population and incite population change, so that we can have a more, I would say, a positive behavioral economics and enable to maintain and sustain hormonal balance. So the projects that we deals with specific cross sections such as domestic violence, drug abuse, malnutrition, and poverty. So the different projects we work on deals with these specific cross sections and address them.
Which makes a lot of sense, because there's a lot of correlation and association, you know, because there's that statistic that, you know, 90% of the shootings are drug related. And so, you know, you're hitting at that, and you're hitting at the families, because some of the things that I've always felt is, how are we going to treat a drug problem if a young person has a family that's, you know, that's broken apart, it's not functioning? They come home, there's nobody there. Absolutely. They're on their own. So they go out with their other friends who maybe have the same problem with their families. And so we have a whole society now where youth are out of control. I mean, when I grew up, it was totally different. But now it's so different. And I know you gave us some pictures of some basketball games that you've run. Engineer, do we have those ready yet? Yes. Yeah, okay. So you know what? Why don't we put one of them up? And I wanted Raza to speak a little bit about his teams, because he uses the sports as a way of controlling what's going on in the world. And before we get to that, let me ask you a question. What is your role as framework director of this Worldly group?
So basically, as a framework, well, it's more so a frameworks coordinator, but I guess I'll talk to the group about changing that to director when I see them. But it's more so towards putting things together so that it can actually have a real chance of coming into fruition, whether that's connecting key personnel, key people, leaders, and just being able to bring the right people, because that's really what I look at, is not just anybody, the right people to really bring these projects into fruition.
Very nice. Well, now, here's some pictures up on the screen. And Buddha, let's leave the first picture that you had. Let's go back to that one. You had a really nice, yeah, let's leave it there now. And there we go. So tell us a little about that. Where was this? What's going on here? Tell us a little bit about your team here.
Oh, excellent. This was in Bolivia. So this year, February, I had taken a group of players to Bolivia, about 6 of them, on an invite from the association, the FIBA Association, and the top league in Bolivia, Libo Basquet, to run some games with them, but also be able to showcase the talents of the players I'm bringing to join teams that are out there. So this was after a game, after the crowd has seen us played, and all of the kids and the youth wanted to take pictures with the athletes, and I was just there snapping away. As you can see, everyone was having a good time. The kids got to interact with pro athletes, and they got a chance to really see what it feels like to be a professional athlete firsthand.
Leave that picture up, Buddha, that you have there. Let's leave that picture there. And what I want to ask you, first of all, so what does the jersey say on the on the shirt?
So this jersey was representing the Mount Vernon Power. We had taken their jersey with us because we wanted to encapsulate a part of New York, because their team has been around for a couple of years. Okay. So we want to bring a piece of New York to Bolivia, so that way we can have a place there.
Okay. So these players that we see here on the screen, these are from the New York area then?
No, they're actually spread all over the United States.
Okay.
There are about 3 of them that were from New York, 3 or 4 of them, and the other 2, they were from Georgia and South Carolina.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. And what was, I think that must be very interesting experience, and really tremendous experience for these guys, no? To play in front of these crowds in a foreign country. And
Oh, definitely. It was a life changer, because one of those kids, the one in the middle, his name was Eli. He actually never played pro. He never played basketball outside of high school. And it was a good opportunity for him to see what he needed to work towards to get to this stage. He blew it out the game. He went there and he showed his A game. And he was the smallest member of our team. And normally teams over there, they take taller athletes. But the way he played, they gave him a shot.
Wow. How tall is he?
He's about 4'11".
4'11", unbelievable.
But he plays like he's 6'6".
You look at him right in the center. Mm-hmm. You can see the confidence just comes out of this guy. And now the guy on the right looks pretty tall. What is he, 6'6"?
He's about 6'6", 6'4".
Okay, and there's another guy about the same size. Mm-hmm. Okay, and go to the next slide, Buddha. Next picture you have. Okay, another one, go forward. This was a little bit dark. Here we go. Now, this guy's from New York, or South?
Yes, he's actually from New York. He was in another team that, one of my teams were playing with the Triple Threat Basketball League, and he was associated with the New York Knights in Brooklyn, and his name is Deontay Wade. He actually is one of the players that got signed and is currently playing over there right now.
Wow, yeah. It's beautiful. Now, I want to ask you a question. So these guys are there and they're providing sports education and, and discipline of sports and a way out of violence and whatever. So I know that you have an idea that you mentioned to me of incorporating sports with drug education and improving society. Tell us a little bit about your idea.
Well, I plan on doing this through RZA. RZA is there to be able to basically build an academy style of learning where I bring experts within their industries and fields to be able to impart their experience and knowledge to those that join those programs.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm. Well, what's interesting is that with the Hispanic Dental Association, they're having an annual meeting. And it's in Westchester, which is near Mount Vernon, which is interesting. And we were looking at having a basketball game because what we're incorporating is something that's been happening. First we did in Honduras with the dentists, the drug-free world education, The Globetrotters came. Bobby Hunter, Felipe Lopez came from the NBA from Dominican Republic. And we did it with the Honduran National Police. Nice. So we had a game there with the capital, just like you did in Bolivia. And then in about a month later or so, we had one Dominican Republic. And that again was with physicians and dentists. And again, with the basketball team and the government and actually the Catholic University, and the bishop of the country was there, and he was like so excited. So you know what? I think it's a fantastic idea. I look forward to
I look forward to that too.
to doing that with you. And so tell us a little bit about what did the Bolivian, the government and the officials of that basketball league, what was their response to what you brought to them?
They loved it. They actually were looking forward for me to do it every year. They loved it so much that both leagues, one FIBA National League and the other one was a non-FIBA National League, decided to work together to bring their seasons in conjunction with each other so the players that stayed there can play year-round and participate in the camps and the clinics that was started for them.
Interesting. And now with what you're doing with these programs and what we've been seeing here, what are like the goals that you have, that you envision, that would you like to see actually occur?
What I would like to see is basically what happened in Bolivia, where both the people in New York, the Organization for the Power, my team, and the organization in Bolivia both benefited. They each got what they wanted. Players got a chance to go overseas, right, to experience what a pro player is, and they got a chance to get New York American players for their import slots, right, because they don't have such a rich government in that area for the sports teams there. So it was better for them to have players that's already boots on ground and taking those players. So it's a great opportunity to establish relationships both domestically and internationally at the same time.
Absolutely. One of the things I was thinking about probably is they would love to have an opportunity to be able to have a show where they could actually get out and promote internationally what they're doing in South America. And so, we could give them that opportunity.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think it would be great to do that. Because in the world, what I've been seeing is there's been a lot of breakdown of interaction of human beings. And so what ends up happening is a lot of the problems we're having, we're kind of putting like fingers in the dam instead of looking overall at the situation and fixing the overall situation. And I think what you're doing with collaborating, with giving opportunities to people, I mean, it's really interesting. What is it that, because it's not the normal thing, so what is it that made you decide to do that? Because it's not everyone who goes out and gives an opportunity, but he's doing it for others. So what got you to do that? I'm very curious.
Well, if I'm being honest, it's because I wanted to be the change I wanted to see in the world. So I said to myself, instead of wishing and hoping for someone else to go do it, I'll do it. I wanted to bring real equity to the players, their families, the communities, the societies, to where they can flourish, they can build legacies, they can establish themselves, they can actually be, able to enjoy the things of life without feeling that they are deprived of something.
Very important. To me, I always say, somebody is given a little bit of care and shown a little bit of respect, that person totally changes in front of your eyes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When I first started my team, the kids that joined my team, there was a bunch of rowdy kids. They did not really care about discipline. They just wanted to play ball. But throughout the program, as you see, they were able to be invited by the Bolivian government. They were received well by the communities that they went in. Everybody loved them. They were like role models in their community, in their society, which is something that when they came into the program, they didn't even thought that they could be. And that's the goal, to where athletes understand that they are the advocates to their communities. They represent their communities. They represent their families. And that's how you install leadership qualities.
It seems so simple, yet what you did was so important. And like I said, it's an activity where you actually changed the viewpoint of these basketball players that maybe just thought about themselves, and now all of a sudden they look at themselves as leaders for their community. I'm curious, what impact do you think this would have in New York City if we took these kids who maybe are going the wrong way, who maybe are looking at maybe, I hate to say it, but becoming a drug dealer, and we did this, and they had this great opportunity, what do you think could happen in our own city here?
Oh man, I think that there will be tremendous change because again, a lot of the times is because these kids don't have these opportunities readily available to them. It's why they run to the street. It's why they run to the gangs. It's why they run to drugs or violence. And instead of me looking, because I hear a lot, oh, there's drug abusers, there's drug this, and I'm like, why don't you think about what this person is going through or what he's facing in their lives to make them turn to drugs? What is it about the people around them that's not facilitating any type of real support that's making them feel like they have to go to these things? And I feel like with this type of environment, it will really change the output of people, period, especially for the youths. Because now they have places to be productive. They'll have real opportunities. They'll have real people that's from their communities that actually did it, that's showing face, that's picking up that mantle of being a leader, being a mentor, and having that real guidance there.
Absolutely. In fact, what I'm going to say to you is, I think you're going to be going to the World Conference of Mayors in January.
Yes.
Down in Orlando. So what I would think would be great if you brought 6 of these guys down there, because on Thursday we're going to have a basketball game, and it's a lot of it's for fun, but they could also do something a little bit to entertain and to be involved. What do you think of that?
Absolutely, I'm with that.
Yeah,
I think those kids would love it too.
I think it would be good. I think usually we have it in the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts building, and the Boys Club, and I think it'd be great. I think they're going to enjoy it. I think we'll get a big turnout, and I like what you've done, because what we can do, we can even do that at a younger age so that they see, hey, you know what, look at these guys, and they look up to them like their big brother. I mean, what do you think of that? Absolutely.
Because right now I'm working with Senegal to bring about a program for 18 and under athletes with Paul Kofter. Paul Kofter, he is a FIBA expert, one of 16 recognized coaches of the year, who's agreed to work with us to bring his knowledge to really teach how to play basketball, right? And that's there for the 18 and under youths.
Yeah, you introduced me to him. He's a super energetic, very compassionate guy, right?
Yeah, he is. He's dope.
Was it Paul Kofter?
Paul Kofter, yeah.
And I think when you showed me, he's coached at international levels, right?
Oh yeah, he's only coached national teams. He's coaching the NBA. He's coached for over 44 years with over 1,000 victories under his belt. He has a wealth of knowledge. I more so care about the way he teaches basketball. It's so unique, I feel, because the way he teaches them is to enable the athletes to be able to operate, to move autonomously on the court without much third party leadership, meaning that they have it in themselves to do it.
Yeah, right. They're just doing it, they're creating on their own.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, he's probably had some unbelievable teams, because when you have them all creating in unison, you can't beat that. Oh, wow. Well, I look forward to meeting him again. And what I was going to say is, also we should promote that we're going to be actually putting something on in Harlem for kids. It's going to be the second Friday of January coming up. It's going to be at the Harlem Community Center. And, for all of you watching, you're welcome to bring your kids. This is about kids. And, what message would you like to give the viewers watching about what you feel about what we can do for our youth, for our kids, and what can be done?
For the viewers that's watching, I would say, in any way that you can, I would love the participation of those that are looking at this right now, because as you see, it's not something that can be achieved alone. We need to do this together for it to really happen the way it should.
Beautiful. As a leader, I'm going to put you on the spot now. Is that okay?
That's okay.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot. Hot seat. So as a leader, all those leaders out there watching this show, what do you want to say to them?
I would love to be able to work with those that are willing to work with me, to be able to contribute to these projects in a way that will be able to foster its manifestation. That's it.
Beautiful. Well said. The world, to me, is like in a fulcrum, and tipping this way a little bit, and then some people madly rushing to put it back upright again, and then tipping again. And we see a lot going on, a lot of chaos in terms of, like what you said, the drugs, the crime, the homelessness, the lack of leadership, of role models. And so there's a lot of people watching this show. And what message would you want to give them on what they can do and what you think can be accomplished by all of us in 2024?
I believe if we just did 30% towards overcoming dehumanization, providing your knowledge, sharing your knowledge, connecting with people, working together, real cooperative, and showing a steadfast togetherness, I feel like that would really be what's needed to bring everything together properly.
Absolutely. I've always felt that one of the things we should realize is, what is wealth?
Health.
What is wealth? What is really wealth? Is wealth measured in finances and in how much gold or bills we hold, stocks? Or is wealth really the wealth of having a society that's prospering, where we can leave the doors open like it used to be able to do in the 50s and the 60s, where kids used to play out in the street in the neighborhood and didn't have to use phones or be in special places with security, with alarms, and badges, and radar detectors. What is wealth? Have we lost sight of what wealth is and what life is all about? And to me, it's a pleasure to have you on a show, someone who has looked at the wealth of these young men and women that you brought to another country, the wealth of what you created internationally between, America and South America, and the wealth of what you're doing on this show today. Raza, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you. And for all of you watching, let's take Raza's example and let's move forward and realize we have a wealth of life. We need each other. It's getting cold outside. It's a good thing that those men and women in Con Ed were working there at nighttime, and that those police officers, men and women, are freezing in the middle of Manhattan to keep us safe. Let's start respecting each other. Let's stop bickering and arguing about nonsense. Let's create a better world. Thank you for having me on another show. We'll see you the next time on a Time for Truth show. Good night.
This show was sponsored by A Time for Truth Foundation Incorporated as a community service.
Sometimes life can be so damn hard. You don't know where to go. Everything keeps falling apart. Yeah. You try to do your best, but only God knows that you've given everything you've got, but the world takes you down. You just keep moving on. Let your feet